Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so sorry this video is pretty late, but since the chapter came out late yesterday and I had stuff to do to prepare for a wedding I have to go to today, I didn't really have time to actually make the video last night. But since the wedding's not until later in the afternoon, I figured I'd wake up earlier, get this video done, because there actually was a few things from this chapter, or at least not really from the chapter, but from people's reaction to the chapter that I actually want to talk about. But we'll get into that near the end of the video. Okay, so we get this badass opening to the chapter where we see a back shot of Mario Leona, basically like a badass standing there facing off against the five elves, who kind of got this angel look going on to them because they're floating above her with angel wings on her back, kind of looking down on her like they're above her and like they're ascended to the heavens. She's stuck on the ground. But anyway, she's looking at them. They're looking at her, and the liar kind of implies that basically there was more fighting going on between the two chapters because he mentions that she's taken so much damage from them, but she's still somehow able to stand up and fight them. And when we do get to see a front shot of her, we do see that she is kind of a little more heavily damaged than she was at the end of the last chapter. So yeah, I guess there was actually fighting going on in between the two chapters. Anyway, Mario Leona's basically standing there dead on her feet. She realizes that she can't really move at this point. There's not much else she can do to fight them. So she decides to pull a Vegeta. Basically, she decides to pull a Vegeta and just basically use Final Explosion, or at least her own version of it. She uses her Mana Zone to basically create this giant flame explosion, which actually almost ends up taking out all five elves by itself. The elves make a comment that they basically had to use a shit ton of mana to basically just block this one attack. And the fact that they used all that mana to block the attack and it still did this much damage to them just goes to show just how much of a badass she is, and makes you think if they didn't block the attack, then any of them would have been dead. Yo, I do gotta say this though. I am honestly surprised all three elves I thought were brought into this fight just to die off survived that attack. I honestly thought at least one of them would end up dying. But the fact that all three of them survived just goes to show just how impressive they are. In fact, this entire fight, they've been impressing me with how well they've been doing. Like I said, I honestly thought they were just brought in to be expendable characters just to die off, just to show how powerful Mario Leona is. But the fact that they've been holding their own pretty well, I mean, honestly, if it was just 1v1, they would have died off already. But the fact that the three of them working together with the other two have been able to hold their own this far against Mario Leona, I gotta say I'm impressed. But yeah, after the attack, we see that Mario Leona passed out on her feet, kind of pulling a Rock Lee. And we see the liar kind of comments on the fact that, he's kind of impressed at the fact that she pushed herself to the point where she passed out standing. And right after he says that, she actually wakes right back up and says, hey, what are you waiting for? Kill me already. Because she realizes she's accepted death at this point. She realizes that there's nothing much more she can do. She gave Sora and Asta plenty of time to escape. She's like, alright, I gave my subordinates time to escape. I can't fight anymore. I fought as hard as I could. I'm ready to accept death. And Liar, honestly, Liar is just impressed with her in this chapter. And in fact, this entire arc, I've noticed that the more and more these two fight, the more impressed and interested Liar seems to be getting in Mario Leona, which is kind of, it's a little bit of character development for the character, because all the flashbacks we saw of him in the past when he was an elf seemed like he didn't really care much for anybody else. A little bit towards Lich, but really not that interested in other people. Didn't seem to care much for humans at all. And yet, throughout this entire arc, he seems to be more and more interested in how Mario Leona works, and kind of wanted to, like, not really get to know her, but like he seems to be like kind of seeing her as a rival at this point, I guess. And I gotta say, the fight between the two of them kind of reminded me of the fight between Katakuri and Luffy in the recent One Piece arc. Not so much the action wise, but the fact that the more and more the two of them fight, the more respect it seemed to be building for each other. But yeah, just to show how much he respects her and to honor the fact that she fought so hard against the five of them, Liar's like, alright, listen, we're not going to hold our punches anymore, or we're not going to hold our punches for his final attack. He gets all the elves to combine all their mana and all their magical elements into one final attack. Kind of looks like this crystal thing that they're going to shoot at her. They throw it right at her. She's accepting death. She's not even going to try to dodge it. And that's when Asta and Sora, plot armor Asta and his little sidekick, come rushing in to save the day at the last second. And I've seen a lot of people complain about this. We'll talk about that in a minute, but mostly they come in and we actually get a flashback between the two of them, where we see the two of them still arguing. Sora obviously wants to run because he's, using an excuse that Mario Leona basically is sacrificing herself to give them a chance to escape. And Asta's basically saying, no, that's not my character. I'm not going to run away from a fight. I'm not going to run away and leave a teammate behind. Doesn't matter if she wants to sacrifice herself or not. I'm going to go in there and save her, or I'm going to die too. And basically, Sora's like, listen, even if we rush back in there, the most we could do is draw their attacks towards us. And this is when Asta kind of comes up with a smart plan for him, really, where he's basically saying, all right, listen, you're right. We really wouldn't be able to do that much damage to them, so we'll make them damage themselves. He basically says, all right, Sora, you use your reflection trap to basically absorb the attack and just double it back at them. And Sora's like, whoa. My reflection magic's not going to be able to do that much. I'm not going to be able to, shoot it that far and attack them and do that much damage to them. So he said, so Asta comes over, all right, if you can't do it yourself, then shoot their magic attack at me. Like, we're going to wait for a moment where they attack all at once. You're going to absorb it. You're going to shoot it back at me. And then I'm going to use my anti-magic sword, its reflection ability, to reflect the attack back at them. We're going to quadruple the damage to them. And that's going to get us the victory. And Sora basically looks at him like, do you have any idea how many convenient things have to happen in order for this plan to work? There's no way this is going to work out. And of course that ends up working out because they can actually come in right at the exact moment they needed when all 5 of them were attacking with one attack. Sora uses his trap magic to basically try to reflect it. But the magic circle that he put together is kind of shoddy since he quickly put it together and he didn't have time to prepare it. So it's starting to break apart on top of him. So Sora's starting to freak out a little bit. He's like, alright, shit, I'm going to die because this attack is going to break through the circle and kill me. Aster jumps in at the last second, gets between him and the circle, uses his anti-magic sword to reflect the attack back at them, quadrupling it, and then that's pretty much where the chapter ends. We don't get confirmation whether or not the attack actually landed or if it actually did any damage to them. So that's pretty much where the chapter ends. And after I read the chapter, I checked the forums, I checked the comments on the websites that I've been reading them on. And basically, I see that the fan base is kind of split in the middle between the chapter. Like, one half of the fan base is happy. I'm kind of in this camp of the fan base. One half of the fan base is happy the fact that Leona survived this. They didn't want her to die. Because like I've been saying for a long time, she's a huge asset. The fact that she's been able to fight to a standstill this far against 5 elves by herself. The fact that anyone of the elves basically said that if they were fighting one-on-one, she would have killed them. The fact that she's been able to do this much damage in general against 5 elves alone just shows how much of an asset she is, not only as someone who could take on multiple elves at a time, but someone who actually trained people who could barely take on 1 elf without taking heavy damage, to the point where they could take on at least 1 or 2 elves in succession, maybe not at once, but one after the other. The fact that we need her to train up the Magic Knights is just a given. Like, she's basically the only one at this point who could train all the fodder characters or all the other characters that we know up to the point where they could actually be a threat against the elves. Now, the other half of the fandom seems to be pissed off at the fact that Leona didn't die in this chapter and had the lack of death in the series in general, which, I can understand their argument too, because if she was going to die, this was a perfect chapter to kill her off after fighting so hard against these 5 elves and pushing herself to the limit. This was the perfect time to kill her off. And we're, 153 chapters into this manga, and only 5 characters have died. 4 of them in this arc, and 3 of them we don't even know if they actually are dead. For all we know, those 3 characters who died off after being sacrificed to the revival magic, after the revival magic gets broken, they could come back. We don't know, but basically, yeah, I can understand the argument that, only 5 characters have died. There's not really that many high stakes in the series in general. But we gotta remember that basically this is kind of common for shonen manga, especially ones in Shonen Jump. I mean, when I think back to Naruto, and this far into the series, only 3 characters have died. Zabuza, Haku, and Sarutobi. And when I think back to One Piece, I think this far in the manga, only 1 character had died off, and we didn't even actually get to see him die. And then even looking at a more recent series, My Hero Academia, no character has died off in the series at all so far. And don't even get me started on Fairy Tail. So yeah, well, I do kind of understand where they're coming from at the fact that this was a perfect chapter to kill off Leona, and the fact that this series is kind of lacking in depth in general. We do got to keep in mind that this is a shonen manga, especially a shonen manga and Shonen Jump. Characters aren't going to die that easily. In fact, early on in the series, there's not going to be much death. Now, if the series can go on to like Naruto level or even One Piece level of chapters, we'll probably get a lot of deaths later on. We'll probably get a lot of main characters dying off. Not main characters, but more like minor main characters dying off. Characters that we actually know the name of and actually kind of care about. Like, if the series goes on, Leona probably will end up dying at some point. Possibly Yami, possibly Magna. We could see a lot of deaths later on in the series if it does continue on to have like One Piece or Naruto level of chapters. But for now, we're going to deal with the fact that characters aren't really going to be dying off that easily in the series. And that's pretty much all I had to talk about for this chapter. Now, before I go, I do want to mention the fact that I did hear about the fact that Hiro Mashima, the creator of Fairy Tail, is going to have a side story sequel to Fairy Tail coming out soon. And also a new series that he's going to be doing, I think, weekly in Shonen Jump. Now, whether the side story is like 5 chapters or 10 chapters, doesn't matter how short it is, because I doubt it's going to be an ongoing series, considering the fact that he has a brand new series coming out that's going to be weekly. But regardless of how many chapters it is, I do want to say that I am going to read it, I am going to review it, and when his new series comes out, I'm going to start reviewing that as well, because honestly, I'm a big Hiro Mashima fan. Can't wait. I've been waiting for his new series to come out, whether it was going to be a sequel to Fairy Tail or it was just going to be a brand new thing. Didn't matter, I've been waiting for it. And I'm just going to be hyped to review it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.